100% perfection.
Coming from a humble background, Michael Schumacher took Formula One by storm and quickly made his way to the top. He made a name for himself, became one of the highest paid athletes, and earned the respect of his rivals. His determination, dedication, and hard work allowed him to punctuate his 19-season-long journey with great moments. From winning his first ever World Championship in 1994 to getting Ferrari's struggling team on the top after 21 years. Join us today as we look at the greatest wins of Michael Schumacher. It was Michael's third year with Ferrari, and he was trying his absolute best to make his car competitive against Mika Heikkinen's McLaren, which was an absolute beast. The only thing that was keeping Michael in the fight for the championship was his brilliance. Until the Hungarian Grand Prix, Michael was in the second spot, 26 points behind Heikkinen. The qualifying was no different than the rest of the season, as the McLarens won the top two positions, with Michael starting the race from the third. When everyone was expecting a McLaren team victory, Ferrari pulled a great move by calling Schumacher for a pit stop early in the race, leaving the McLaren confused and forcing them to follow suit. This was the opening Michael was looking for to leave them behind, and he did exactly that. The strategy call, which came from Ferrari's tech chief Ross Brawn, was communicated to Michael in still one of the most famous radio conversations in Formula One history, and it went like this. Michael, you have 19 laps to pull out 25 seconds. We need 19 qualifying laps from you. Okay? Thank you. Michael gave the performance of his life and he pushed his car to the limits. He understood that he had to stop again and wanted to make sure that he remained ahead of the McLarens after his pit stop. He created a lead of 30 seconds and remained ahead of them after the pit stop. He held this position and won convincingly and ended up with maximum points, reducing the lead of his rival to only 7 points in the championship. Many experts consider it his performance, as he described his victory as one of his most emotional wins. Michael Schumacher won 2 championships with Benetton in 1994 and 1995 and could have easily won the third in 1996. But in search of a challenge, Schumacher joined Ferrari with a dream of bringing the team back to its old glory days. How difficult would this task be? Michael did not know at the time. The Ferrari F310 car was a complete mess, and it kept him from winning races for quite some time. But the German enjoyed the challenge and worked very hard with the engineers to make the car competitive and back to winning races. However, the efforts he made were not enough to win the championship in the first 4 years with Ferrari. And now even the management was wary about whether to continue with Michael or bring someone like Heikkinen. All these doubts were shattered by Michael in the year 2000. Michael was at the top of the table at the Japanese Grand Prix. It was his moment to finally achieve what he has been working for the past 4 years. Heikkinen was not out of the competition either. He had to win the Japanese Grand Prix to keep his hopes for winning the third title alive. The qualifying race was incredible, with each driver pushing themselves to the limit to win the pole position, which was decided by a mere 9,000ths of a second, as Michael won it in hopes to keep the McLaren in the second spot. That, however, did not happen, as Heikkinen went flying ahead of Michael. Even after the first pit stop, he was ahead of Michael and was looking to fetch the top spot. Ferrari's strategy and some luck came to help Michael, as they did not box for the second time. Michael kept putting fast laps one after the other, and the time that Heikkinen lost during his second pit stop allowed Michael to keep his lead after his second pit stop. Afterwards, the McLaren kept pushing, but Michael had done enough by that time and passed the checkered flag first, winning his career's third World Championship. His efforts finally came to fruition, and he finally won a World Championship title with Ferrari. And the pressure he had been carrying on his shoulders was finally released as he went on to win 4 more back-to-back world titles with Ferrari. Michael Schumacher's move to Ferrari came as a shock to many, as the team was not even close to the likes of Williams or even the Benettons, the team he won 2 consecutive world titles with. The two were dominating at the time, and the chances of Ferrari beating them were close to none. Then, Michael showed why he was the best driver at the time and earned himself the title of Rain Master. It was one of the heaviest downpours ever before the race started. Starting from P3, Michael Schumacher showed his absolute class. Where other cars were either spinning off or retiring, he was setting the fastest laps and leaving his competition far behind. He was 4 seconds faster than the second fastest car on the track. Even after 3 pit stops, no one was able to take the lead away from him, and that was how he won his career's 20th Grand Prix victory and his first with Ferrari, one that would be remembered for ages. After making his debut in 1991, everyone knew who Michael Schumacher was a year later. He was already in the 4th position in the drivers' standing by the time of the Belgium Grand Prix. He qualified for the 3rd position, and rain brightened his chances for victory. Ayrton Senna, who was looking very good and was leading the race, lost the momentum because of a bad strategic decision and not changing tyres in the rain. Williams faced issues with their exhaust, and their inability to reach full throttle reduced their performance on the straights, opening the opportunity for Michael to take advantage. He grabbed the opportunity with both hands and did not allow Williams to get ahead, and won the first Grand Prix of his career. Belgium seemed to bring luck for Michael as he had his first race and victory there. This time, he was fighting for the World Championship. His previous race in Hungary did not end up in his favour, as his engine failure closed the gap between him and Damon Hill to only 11 points. The qualifying did not go in their way. Hill qualified 8th, while Schumacher qualified 16th. Rain was expected and the teams had to strategise accordingly. However, the rain started in dry conditions and the two quickly overtook other cars. The top spot was changing hands between Johnny Herbert and Jean Alesi and David Coulthard. David's car was forced to retire due to engine issue, which gave Hill the top spot and Michael the second. This was the setup that had been the case for almost the entire 1995 season. At that time, the rain started to pour, and Michael's excellence to drive in wet weather was at full display once again. The rain started to put other contenders in the mix, with Ferrari also looking to match the top team's performance. Damon pitted for wet weather tyres, but Michael did not. He kept Hill behind even on the slicks, but was eventually overtaken by him. That strategy did not work very well for Williams, as Michael was able to pull an amazing victory from the back of the grid and by a large margin of 19 seconds. With that victory, Michael had a 15-point lead ahead of Damon Hill and would eventually go on to win the 2nd World Championship of his career. To many, Michael Schumacher is the greatest F1 driver of all time. He won 2 consecutive World Championships in 1994 and 1995. And left the team in search of a new challenge when he could have stayed with his team and added another title victory to his name. The role he played in making Ferrari the most dominant team was remarkable. He toiled for 4 years with the team, and his efforts allowed him to win 5 championships with Ferrari, taking his total championships to 7, which is still not surpassed by anyone and may never be. This is the class of Michael Schumacher.